The original text of this story contains links back to all referenced prior stories for context. A link to the text post can be found in the video's description.
Sometimes my boredom takes me to wild places. Y'all remember back in 2020 when I got furloughed from work and snared the information of and finagled from time on the phone with a TV exec? Well, I am not saying all of that to say that I have been furloughed again. I've actually made a pretty good go of life since that furlough ended 7 weeks early, but no need to get all off into that. I have, from time to time, called or received calls from the same guy about ideas he or I might have for television shows. I swear, I think I'm just his release to break up the monotony of his daily life, because there is no way in hell he can be taking the shit I come up with seriously. Anyway, a couple of weeks ago, my FB memories dragged me back to an idea I had posted on Twitter, i.e. thing, wherein I proposed a new game show idea. Rather than sit here and explain in excruciating detail what the game and show would consist of, I will walk you through the actions and phone call that took place. As I am often unwilling to do, I made a phone call. Executive, I'm hoping I won't regret answering this call. Good afternoon to you too, sweetheart. What a grumpy way to greet an old friend. Sorry, it's just... Look, I know the WGA strike just ended, and you have a lot of shit on your plate waiting on the outcome of the actors one. Tell me about it. Well, know that I have not stopped writing. I've been following true story. You are a wild man. You could be employing that wildness if you really wanted to. I can't employ much of anyone right now. Anyway, I have a new idea for you, and I even recorded a test run for you. But how? Because no one I know well enough to get on board with this is a SAG actor, and we recorded this shit with our phones. Oh boy. Show some excitement. Well, I am morbidly curious now. Check your email in a few minutes. Sure thing. The video started with some happy time sounding music that I threw together on an online music creation website I found and tinkered with, then panned across a kitchen set with 2 stoves at each cooking station, not dissimilar to what one might see on one of those cooking or baking competition shows. Camera finally settles on me standing on a soapbox, and my hood finest clothings. Hello and good evening, everyone, and welcome to the wrist-twisting kitchen, where we take 3 rappers who spend a lot of their time and effort rapping about selling crack, and we put their skills to the test. Is this a rap battle? No, we have devised a special test for these men. But first, let's meet today's contestants. The camera slowly pans to each cooking station, now manned by the contestants in the game. First up, we have Little Dookie Smoke, whose debut mixtape, Blick Flare, has been downloaded 16 times since debuting in 2020. Give him a round of applause, people. The 5 crackheads I found outside of Home Depot, a mile from my house, clapped as hard as one would expect when they've been promised their chosen vice free of charge if they just judge a game. Next, we have Jericho Jigaboo Jackson, who is more than willing to remind you that he ain't no rapper, he a real nigga. Let's hear it for Jigaboo. More applause from my captive audience looking to score their fix and not much more. Phlip note. I should be ashamed of myself. And last up, we have Lil Fuckboy Dog Zan Guy, who wants to remind the children to make sure they grow up and get their GED so they don't have to grow up like he did and to quit hating and get money. Say hello to Fuckboy. One last round of applause, and now it is time to get into the teeth of how the game goes. As you gentlemen know, we have chosen you for your specific self-proclaimed talents in the kitchen, and today we're going to put them to the test. Each of you will be placed at a cooking station and cook up a batch of rock to be tested by our panel of actual crackhead judges. The winner gets to keep his record deal. The losers, well, they have to go to a predetermined by us corner in an unfamiliar neighborhood and attempt to sell their wares. This is where shit almost went off the rails. Zangad, You mean this shit ain't for like free studio time or beats or nothing? No, sir. You are cooking for your very career in here today. Good luck, gentlemen. I am beyond amazed that everyone in this studio, my garage, has kept the face for this shit. But now I have to lay out the specifics. Gentlemen, you have handed over your phones on the way in to maintain genuineness of your product. If you say you can cook it, then you won't be searching for the recipe on Google. In front of you, you have an 8-ball of cocaine, a box of baking soda from my sponsors Arm & Hammer, distilled water from Poland Springs, a mason jar, and a pot. You have 90 minutes to whip up the product here in the wrist-twisting kitchen, and then your fate is in the hands of our judges here. Your clock starts now. It was immediately clear that these boys had only been repeating shit they had heard as it relates to narcotics. I would be more inclined to think that their relationship to the game was more about use than it ever was about distribution, but here we are. It was clear, however, that Jericho, a.k.a. Jigaboo Jackson, was in this shit to win it, still repeating that verse to himself as he cooked up his product. Co-host, what's he doing? I think he clearly didn't have a clue how to do this, so he's reciting C. Murder's verse from Master P's classic Ghetto Dope. But why? Because it contains explicit instructions on how to do this. That's why. Wow. Wow, indeed. That's thinking on your feet. My co-host, who I informed to tell the contestants his name was Fackington as an attempt to throw them off their concentration as they do the crime equivalent of faking one's way through an Excel spreadsheet in the middle of a job interview, went to each casual and questioned the contestants on where they learned their techniques, and none was particularly chatty. No worries, Fap. These gentlemen all have Gen X parents. What does that even mean? We grew up around crackheads, and that made us not want to be one, so they don't have the useful point of reference that we had. Makes sense. Time check. 36 minutes remain, gentlemen. It was becoming immediately clear that Jericho-era Jigaboo Jackson was in this shit to win it, still repeating that verse to himself as he cooked up his product. The remaining time went by like it was nothing. As expected, based on the way the situation had played out, we all know who the winner was. In a montage over very sad music, we sent Dookie Smoke to MLK to attempt to hand his product, and Zangai got what might see as an easier draw in that he was made to attempt to sell by the Home Depot. That would be an easier draw because it is not sitting next to downtown with constant cot traffic like MLK is. The fact that two of our judges came from this same block and would already know his work is shit notwithstanding, of course. The episode ends with Jericho Jigaboo Jackson in the booth recording some such nonsense about being the best cook in the city. We faded out in the middle of the verse so we wouldn't need to pay anyone any extra down the road. I called the exec back after giving him time to digest. Me. So when can we go to production? Executive. We can't. Why not? Are you insane? We can't put a show on TV about cooking crack. But they can rap about it? Touché. I am not in that business, though. Well, can't we present it in a shorter form and like a sketch comedy? You sent me a whole detailed and produced reality game show wherein you sent two men out into the wilderness to commit felonies. But on camera. Yeesh. So back to the drawing board? Back to the drawing board. Fuck. Back to the drawing board.